Well, welcome back, everybody. We are about to begin our study of human physiology, and we are going to learn a lot about the different physiological systems that characterize humans and other mammals. A good way to start is by going back to cell biology and thinking about the needs of a cell. What does a cell need from its environment? Well, it needs inputs and outputs, right? It needs to be able to take things in from the environment, energy and materials. And these materials are things like building block molecules of the four biological macromolecules. And it also has to have a way to get rid of its output. In other words, a place to deposit waste. Here's a diagram that shows you a little bit about that. Here come in the macromolecules, actually. They get broken down into the building block molecules and then get turned into those biological molecules that the cell needs. More generally, we can think of the taking in of food particles, their digestion, and we learned earlier that in eukaryotes, at least, that's carried out by lysosomes, and then whatever waste remains in that vessel gets put out into the environment. So inputs and outputs, energy and building block molecules on the way in, what we call food, and then getting rid of waste products on the way out. Life on Earth has not always been multicellular. It was about 2.5 billion years of life before there were multicellular organisms. In a multicellular organism, you have this conundrum because the cell is inside the body, but it still needs to have its needs met. It needs the energy molecules, it needs the building block molecules, and it's also going to need oxygen, as we just learned in the cellular respiration unit. But they are far from the source of nutrition, and when they release wastes, those wastes are inside the body, so they have to be gotten rid of. So multicellular organisms have evolved physiological systems with the purpose of meeting the needs of cells. And if you think about what the goal of each body system is, it will help you remember and understand how the system functions. So let's take a look at four basic systems right off the bat and identify their goals. First, the digestive system. What does it do? What's its purpose? Its goal is to turn food into the building block molecules that can travel through the body and then diffuse into cells. And then the cell can use them to build and maintain itself. What about the respiratory system? What's its purpose? Well, it has a dual purpose. One is to obtain oxygen from the atmosphere, which is then going to be transported through the body to the cells. And the other is to expel the waste product of cellular respiration, which is carbon dioxide. What about the urinary system? What's its goal? Well, the urinary system has as its primary goal the removal of cellular waste from the body. And the circulatory system, what's the circulatory system's goal? It's to transport materials, nutrients and waste, to the cells and away from the cells. Now, one last thing before we get into human physiology. When substances must diffuse across a membrane, it makes a lot of sense that the more membrane it exists, the more the substance will be able to diffuse. As a result, many aspects of physiological systems will be characterized by adaptations that increase surface area, because a larger surface area results in a faster rate of transport of materials across a boundary, such as a lung or an intestine. So that's it for today. I hope what you understand is that when multicellularity evolved, it set up a problem. Cells are far away from their source of nutrition, their source of oxygen, and when they excrete waste, they excrete it right outside themselves, and that's likely to be damaging. As a result, multicellular organisms had to evolve physiological systems. These physiological systems each play a role in meeting the needs of cells, and I outlined the purpose of four of the physiological systems for you today. We will go on and look at others later in the semester. So, you've got a lot to think about here today. After you've spent a little more time on this, go outside, look at nature, ask biological questions, bring them back to class, and I'll see you soon.